Hello friends. So it has gotten very, very wet and rainy here in Portland, and I am adventuring just down my block here to go to a cafe called Barista. And I saw last time I was in that their like specialty seasonal latte looks amazing, and I want to try to make a macaron out of it. So we're gonna go and try to get this latte and film some fall colors and enjoy my break in my teaching schedule in the rain, and then go home and do some baking. So let's go do that. Okay, I got the goods. I wanted to sit outside because COVID times, but there were only like 3 tables underneath the awning, and I'm pretty hardcore when it comes to weather. I don't get cold very easily. I like rain. I did not want to sit outside and drink coffee and read my book in the rain. Primarily for the sake of my book. I didn't want that. So let's drink this at home. So I'm definitely getting the honey. I'm definitely getting the almond. I don't know that I taste the caramelized milk. I don't even know what that means. I was gonna ask the guy, but kind of forgot, got distracted. So yeah, let's sit down and think about how this could be a macaron.
I am a huge fan of sketching and writing out all of my thoughts for not just macarons, but anything I bake, especially if it is something I have not made before. It's a new idea I'm playing around with in a journal, and I like to keep all of my thoughts together so I can flip through and, write down ideas when I'm thinking about it, or, flip through to get some inspiration or anything like that. When I'm writing down or sketching some ideas, things I try to keep track of are like flavor profiles, and then specifically how that will work in the like recipes, what kind of recipes I'm making, what the appearance will look like, what the inside layers will look like, and then any notes that I want to make sure I remember. So thinking about this latte, I was thinking about the almond, honey, milk, espresso flavors for the most part were the predominant things. How am I going to include that? How will that be represented on the top of the macaron shell? How will you taste all of those elements at once when you bite in? And so with all of those thoughts in mind, I decided I wanted to make an espresso pain de gêne, which is a type of a French almond cake. And I wanted to make a honey buttercream, and then have a shell that had espresso flavored royal icing and some toasted almonds on top, so you could see what flavors you're going to be biting into and then also taste them. So there are a lot of components I'm going to need for this. I'm going to start off with my macaron shell. This is going to be, just like always, French method for my meringue, whipping the egg whites and sugar to really stiff peaks, adding in my food coloring, mixing in my dry ingredients, and after I get it to the perfect ribbon stage consistency, I'll pipe it onto my baking trays. I know that was pretty brief and an overview. If you want more information, I go into a ton of detail in some of my other videos, and I also have a step-by-step 3-part video for beginners for making macarons. So if you are new to making macarons and want more information, make sure to check that out. I love almond in general, but I especially love marzipan almond extract. That really intense almond flavor is something I adore. So pain de Jeune is something that I'm quite fond of. Basically, you take almond paste or marzipan, you beat it with some eggs get it in a double boiler until it's completely homogeneous, and then whip it up until it's light and fluffy. And then at that point, you mix in some melted butter and fold in flour. Like, it is so simple. There are so few ingredients, but it's just a really, really lovely cake. Great for adding into like petit gâteau and all kinds of French desserts. And I just thought that really intense almond flavor would be perfect for this. And I added in some instant espresso powder into my melted butter to get the espresso element for the latte in there as well. While that cake cools, I'm going to finish the top of my macaron shells, which I'm going to do by adding a drizzle of royal icing that I flavored with some espresso powder, and then just a few toasted almonds. And I think that this is one of those decorations that I really, really love, that not only gives an elegant, beautiful appearance, helps it stand out from other macarons, but it really lets you know what the flavor is going to be like, or gives you some hints. And also it adds to the flavor, the crunch from the almond and that toasty almond flavor. And then also the royal icing, particularly because it's been flavored with the espresso, it's acting as glue for those almond slices, but it's also adding a burst of flavor. So while that is drying, the last component we need is that honey buttercream, and I am making a Swiss meringue buttercream. And the benefit of that is that because it's made in a double boiler, it's really easy to substitute out some of my sugar in my original standard Swiss meringue buttercream recipe for some honey. You absolutely can just whip some honey into any buttercream recipe you have, but I really like the idea that part of the base recipe itself is honey, so you get a really intense, strong flavor as you did in that latte. So I'm just going to heat this until it is quite warm, then take it off of the double boiler and whip it until it is almost cool before adding in my butter. finally, all of my macaron elements are ready. My shells with that royal icing decoration have dried. The cake is cooled and cut into little squares. I would have cut them into small circles if I had any cookie cutters with me, but I didn't. So I'm just going to place one of those squares in the middle of each shell, and then I will go around the piece of cake with my honey buttercream and just go all the way up until it is flush with the top of the piece of cake. For me, that is about 2 rotations around. Depending on how much or how little cake you want in the inside of your macarons, you absolutely could cut those pieces smaller, cut them in half, or use a larger tray while you're baking just to naturally have a smaller piece of cake. I really hope you enjoyed this recipe and my adventure in basing these macarons off of the barista honey marzipan latte. It was a ton of fun and the end result was phenomenal. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!